Hi everyone, this is a video for Todd Ravito's SensorCraft. So before we get started in this video, we are assuming that you have the two following things done. We're assuming that you have Python downloaded and installed on your computer, and we are also assuming that you have the latest version of SensorCraft downloaded from GitHub. So it would look something like this. But if you don't have those two things done, please go ahead and take a minute to pause the video and go check out our introduction video, and that will walk you through how to do both of those things. So once we've got that taken care of, we're going to go ahead and start the video. And so we're going to learn how to create nothing but a flat world, or we're going to modify the original code to make nothing but a flat world. So the first thing we want to do is copy the main code into a separate one that we're going to edit for this specific task. So we're going to open up a terminal. So if you're on Windows, this will be called PowerShell, and it will look like this, and it works exactly the same. Mac, Ubuntu, everything. You should know how to open a terminal. If you don't, just go to your search bar, type in terminal, and one will pop up. So once we're here, one thing about programming languages and using terminals that is completely universal is navigating directories. And so what this would look like is if I was on my desktop directory, I could click on SensorCraft, and then clicking on that directory changes my location, right? So I can see different things when I'm in my desktop directory versus when I'm in my SensorCraft directory. And so when I'm here, this is what my directory looks like. I'm on my computers, users, Aaron. Well, this will be what whatever your initials are. And then I'm on my desktop in my SensorCraft folder. And so where I want to end up is in my code folder. So I can X out of this. I'm going to go back to my terminal, and I'm going to type in pwd. And so this prints my working directory. This prints my location right now. So right now, that specific individual terminal is in the directory users Aaron, right? So I want to go to C and then users Aaron, right? And so this is all the stuff I can see in my current directory. And so if I type in ls, which lists all the documents or folders that are in your current directory, you can see that a lot of these match up with ones over here. And alright, and so the next directory that I want to go to is my desktop, okay? So I'm going to go cd desktop, and then I'm going to go to my SensorCraft folder, and then my code, right? So I want to type in cd, or change directory, and I went to my desktop first, and if you type in a little bit of it and then hit tab, it will autofill if it has enough characters. And so I'm going to go to desktop, and then I'm going to type in SensorCraft, and then code. And then now if I do pwd, this should line up with this, and it looks like it does, so we're good. And so I'm going to clear my terminal, and I'm going to go ahead and close, or no, I'm going to leave this open. And so what we want to do is we want to copy the main.py code, so which is right here. So we want to type in cp, or also on Windows, if you're using PowerShell, you'll want to type in copy, the full word. But I'm going to type in cp, and this is the document that I want to copy. So I'm going to type in main.py, and you have to include the py, and you can find that right here. You have to include the main.py because when the computer is trying to copy it or trying to run your program, it needs to know what language it is, because it needs to know how to interpret it, because it might interpret something different if it's in Python rather than if it's in Java or C++ or BASIC or any of the other programming languages. They're all different. And so you want to always specify which language you're programming in. So I'm going to do cp and then main.py, and then I'm going to copy it to a file with the following name that we're going to type in. So it's going to be 00 underscore flat underscore world underscore, and then your initials, mine are ABR, and then underscore your initials dot py. And then if you come over here and you scroll up, you can actually see it copy the file, which I think is pretty cool. And so there it goes. It just popped up, and this is exactly the same as main.py. And so now that we have this file copied, we can go ahead and close out of the things that we had open. And we're going to open Python idle. And so if you go to your search bar and type in IDLE, It should pop up, and this is what it looks like. And so this is a Python shell. This is similar to a terminal, but we won't really be using it for anything we're going to be doing in these tutorials. So what we're going to do is go to File, Open, and then you see this is the current directory that it's in right now. So we're not going to be able to open the file we want because we're in the wrong directory. We want to go to Desktop, and then SensorCraft, and then Code. And it'll take us there. So we want to open up 00 flat world and then your initials. So you want to open it up. It'll open a new tab. And then here we go. So if we go to line 128, right here. And you can see the line number down here in the bottom right corner. And so this line is the class, or defines the class that we're on. And so model is the name of the class, and this contains information about the class following it. And so it contains information about where blocks are going and what they look like and what textures they have and all of that good information that makes the world look how it does. Without this class, it would just be a whole bunch of cubes with no color to them. It would just be all white. Everything would be a blank white cube, and that would not be fun. So once we're in our model class, we're going to go down here this function called initialize. And so what this function does is, as it may sound, it initializes the world. And so what it does is right here, it generates like the layers of grass and the layers of stone and the perimeter around the whole world in stone. But what it does here is it creates random hills, or you can see by this annotation. And so we don't really want the random hills, right, because the name of our file is 00 flat world. And so we don't want any of those hills. And so we can come down here, and if we put a pound sign at the beginning of each line, like this, you can see how, you can see how all the lines that have pound signs following them are starting to turn gray. Oops. I don't even know what happened there. And so what this does is it's a practice in programming called commenting things out. And so this is when you want your code to ignore something when it's run, but you don't want to completely get rid of it because you might want to use it later. And so once we have our code commented out, we're going to go ahead and run it. And the commenting out can also be used for annotating your code. So you see how right here made a note called generate hills randomly. Right, and so that's not any code, that's just regular English. But when they put the pound sign there, it completely ignores it. So I can type pound, this is a comment. It describes something, right? In the code, when it's run, it will always ignore that. It will never try to run anything by that, or it'll just be completely ignored, which is a very useful task in the programming world. And so now I want to run my code, right? So I'm going to come up here, and as simple as it sounds, I'm going to hit run. And then there's 3 options, and we want to run the module. And you have to save first, so this will just save for you, but in the future, just do Control-S before you try to run anything. So here it is. So this is what our world looks like, and we know that our code works because there's no hills. And so this is similar to the regular game of Minecraft. The controls are almost identical. W moves you forward, A to the left, S backwards, and D to the right. And then spacebar makes you jump, and if you right click, you can place blocks. And if you left click, you can delete them. And you can also jump on blocks and then place a block while you're jumping. But one great thing is that you'll never take fall damage. And so this is that stone fence or stone perimeter I was talking about. You can't ever delete this. But so this is what it looks like when we run our code. But one thing you might notice is up here it says Pyglet instead of SensorCraft. We want it to say SensorCraft, right? So we're going to go ahead, and if you want your mouse to be released from the game, if you just hit escape, it should pop back up and then you can close it. But don't close your shell. We're going to minimize that. But if we go down to the very bottom of our code, we have a function called main, and this kind of holds basic information about the window. See, it opens a window with a width of 800 and a height of 600, right? And you can resize it. And so this is our caption. So this is what shows up at the top of our screen. So we're going to go back and we're going to type in SensorCraft. And now Control-S, we're going to save it, and then we're going to run our module. And you can see up there in the top left of the screen, it says SensorCraft now instead of PyGlist. So that did exactly what we wanted. So now we're going to X back out. And so this is all we're going to cover in this tutorial. Thank you all very much for using SensorCraft. If you have any questions, please feel free to visit our GitHub page, make a new issue, leave a comment, do a pull request, any of that stuff. But thank you for using SensorCraft. Happy crafting!